The story begins when Walter is frantically running through a bustling market, pursued by a group of assailants of mysterious origin. In a critical situation, Walter cleverly stuffs a secret package into a roadside mailbox. Once finished, he breathes a sigh of relief as if he has just accomplished something of great importance. But just as Walter steps into the middle of the road, a truck suddenly speeds toward him at a terrifying velocity and slams into him. The fatal impact kills Walter instantly. That sudden departure not only ends his life, but also becomes the catalyst for his two long-estranged sons to face each other once again. The eldest son, James, is a military officer, while the younger son, Johnny, is a police officer in Oklahoma City. 2 days later, at the funeral, the entire family has gathered. The reunion of the children separated for many years finally occurs, foreshadowing a series of dangerous events gradually approaching. The atmosphere between Johnny and James at the funeral is clearly very strained. The two are paternal half-brothers, and the conflict between them has lasted since childhood. Although James appears indifferent and distant on the outside, deep down he always worries about and loves his younger brother. It is just not yet the time for James to reveal it. While dining at home, Johnny suddenly declares that Walter's death was certainly a murder, not a car accident. The reason is that the day before, he was ambushed by 2 men from a yakuza group searching for a secret package. They said Walter had sent it to him, but he had received nothing yet. Hearing this, James immediately explodes in anger. In his eyes, Johnny is once again bringing trouble to the family, just like in the past. Knowing he cannot sway his brother, Johnny decides to discover the truth for himself. The next morning, Johnny arrives at Walter's old office, searching everywhere in hopes of finding some sort of clue. However, everything is empty and in vain. Just as Johnny is about to leave, he suddenly notices another man stealthily entering the office. Johnny immediately charges forward and strikes hard, giving the opponent no time to resist. The bone-deep pain forces him to admit his true identity, confessing that his name is Pika and that he used to work for Walter as a hacker and photographer, specializing in supporting private investigations from behind the scenes. Hearing this, Johnny immediately asks if a private investigator like Walter had any major enemies. Pika laughs bitterly and replies that, if he had to list them, Walter was hostile toward nearly half the city. Without hesitation, Johnny clearly declares that from now on, Pika will work for him. Meanwhile, after calming down and reflecting for a while, James realizes that Johnny's words may very well not be a fabrication. So he goes to the police station to collect Walter's belongings, which include a room key and a piece of paper with 12 nonsense words written on it. Afterward, he goes directly to the scene where Walter was struck and killed. Observing the area, he discovers a surveillance camera mounted outside a nearby shop. James immediately enters and uses money to request a copy of the video footage. Back at Walter's office, Johnny and Pika begin to thoroughly search through every item. Amidst the clutter of belongings, Johnny suddenly notices a surfboard that looks strange. Upon closer inspection, he discovers a mysterious map hidden inside. At a glance, it looks like a detailed diagram of a project or a large-scale plan. But Johnny has absolutely no idea what its true purpose is. At the same time at City Hall, Governor Peter Mayhew is giving a grand presentation on Hawaii's future development plan. Nanny, Johnny's cousin and Peter's close assistant, is also present at the event. Suddenly, Johnny calls Nanny to tell her about his discovery of the strange map. He is certain Walter hid it for an important reason, but he himself cannot decipher the true value of this item. After hearing this, Nanny immediately asks Johnny to read the serial number written on the drawing to her. Just as Johnny says he will send the information, James unexpectedly appears at the office. Seeing his brother standing before him, Johnny cannot help but be surprised. James admits that Johnny was right about their father. Walter really had become entangled in a massive problem before he died. The two of them watch the secret camera footage that James obtained from the scene. On the screen, everything appears very clearly. The truck did not lose control at all. The driver intentionally accelerated and drove straight into Walter. This was a prearranged murder. Realizing the gravity of the matter, the two brothers immediately understand that Walter's death is only the tip of the iceberg. On one side is the intentional vehicle collision. On the other is the fact that Johnny is being hunted by the yakuza. That very night, everything points to Walter having crossed an extremely dangerous power. Hesitating no longer, they leave the office with the determination to follow the remaining tracks. But on the way back, danger suddenly strikes as a strange car speeds up from behind and fires repeatedly at them. Johnny reacts very quickly, immediately jumping out of the car and firing back. A bullet hits the gas tank, causing the attacker's vehicle to explode violently. However, the explosion also spreads to James's car, completely destroying the vehicle. James yells in anger, but Johnny calmly replies that he just saved his brother's life. With no other choice, both quickly leave the scene and return home. There, Nanny brings important information. She states that the map Walter left behind belongs to a man named Marcus, a figure with close ties to the yakuza. Marcus owns a chain of high-end restaurants in Hawaii and is planning to build a new establishment exactly at the location marked on the map. Hearing this, James immediately notices something unusual. From what he knows, that construction is certainly not just a restaurant. It is very likely that the blueprint Walter left behind is actually the layout of a casino. Nanny quickly adds an essential piece of information. In Hawaii, casinos are strictly prohibited, meaning Marcus cannot build this project transparently. To proceed with the plan, he must rely on secret agreements with high-ranking officials. Nanny also announces that Marcus is about to host a fundraising party tomorrow. Without further discussion, the two brothers immediately decide to sneak into that party to look for clues. The next morning, Pika brings very beneficial news. He has just secured a position serving food at Marcus's party. This is indeed an ideal opportunity for access. That afternoon, amidst a luxurious setting filled with powerful figures, with the instincts of a police officer, Johnny suddenly notices a suspicious woman. Without hesitation, Johnny proactively approaches her to investigate. The woman, named Monica, through a brief conversation, realizes he is Walter's son. When Johnny breaks the news that Walter has passed away, Monica cannot hide her shock and pain. She reveals she is Marcus's wife. Previously, Monica had hired Walter to investigate because she suspected her husband of having an affair. She completely failed to foresee that everything would lead to such a tragic outcome. Monica invites Johnny to meet privately tomorrow at a hotel, promising to tell him everything she knows. Just as she finished speaking, Marcus's bodyguards arrive to lead him away. In another corner of the party, James, who is working as a dishwasher, also faces a similar situation. Before finding any valuable information, he is brought to meet Marcus. He coldly interrogates them on why they dared to infiltrate his private party. Johnny and James then reveal their identities, stating they are Walter's sons and that he has passed away. Hearing this, Marcus acts surprised but quickly regains his composure, asserting that he himself had hired Walter to tail his wife. Johnny does not hesitate to point out the truth. He posits that not only did Marcus hire Walter, but Monica had also surreptitiously done the same. Both husband and wife hired the same detective to monitor each other. Those words immediately make the atmosphere heavy. Marcus misunderstands that Johnny is implying he was involved in Walter's death. Johnny immediately clarifies that he is only referring to the suspicion-filled relationship between the couple. During the conversation, Johnny happens to notice a grenade that Marcus displays as a collectible. He shows a particular interest in it. This makes Marcus even more irritated. Not wanting the matter to drag on, Marcus orders the two brothers to be kicked out of the party. The next day, Johnny goes to the hotel for his scheduled meeting with Monica. However, as soon as he arrives, he is frozen in shock. Monica's body lies motionless in a car. Clearly, she has been murdered. Without thinking long, Johnny immediately realizes that Marcus is the mastermind behind it all. An explosion of rage follows, and Johnny charges straight ahead to find Marcus's henchmen, beginning to take them down one by one decisively. Johnny defeats one man after another, gradually getting closer to Marcus. But when he is not far from the target, he falls into an ambush. Marcus's henchmen rush in simultaneously to overwhelm and beat Johnny unconscious, finally handing him over to the local police for arrest on charges of assault. That afternoon, James appears at the police station to bail Johnny out. He cannot hide his fury at his younger brother's reckless actions. James shouts that Johnny will never be able to discover the truth about their mother's death if he continues to act so thoughtlessly. Hearing this, Johnny completely loses his cool. He lunges into an attack, venting all the resentment accumulated over many years. The two brothers engage in a fierce fight, which is no longer just a conflict out of momentary anger, but a collision of wounds never before expressed. Finally, Johnny screams in pain. He blames James for pushing him away and for abandoning him exactly when he needed his brother most. James remains silent, and then slowly recounts the truth he had kept hidden for all those years. After Johnny's mother died, Johnny was constantly involved in fights with gangs. The police were hunting him, and the underworld wanted him dead. James had no other choice but to send Johnny away, with the sole objective of keeping his younger brother safe. But Johnny never understood that and never deigned to listen to him. Johnny says emotionally that when their mother died, James was the only relative he had left, and he needed his brother by his side rather than being pushed away like a burden. Those words caused James to be unable to restrain his emotions. He bows his head and apologizes to his brother for not having enough courage to speak the truth sooner. Finally, all hatred is erased. The two brothers look at each other, truly on the same side for the first time. They decide to let go of the past and cooperate to track down their father's killer and end the chain of tragedies that has lasted for many years. Both brothers return home to put things in order. Not long after, Johnny receives an unexpected call from his girlfriend, Valentina. She mentions that she went to Johnny's apartment in Oklahoma to get her belongings and discovered a strange package sent by Walter. Hearing this, Johnny immediately realizes this is exactly what the yakuza gang has been hunting for all this time. Valentina opens the package and discovers only a USB drive inside. Johnny requests that Valentina immediately fly to Hawaii and bring that USB drive with her. After a bit of hesitation, she agrees. Not long after, Valentina lands at the airport. The whole group quickly departs by car. On the way, Pika plugs the USB into the computer to check the contents. It turns out the contents are a cryptocurrency account with very complex encryption. Valentina explains that to unlock this account, exactly 12 random words are needed. Right then, James takes out the piece of paper he found among Walter's belongings. The 12 seemingly meaningless words finally prove their use. While Pika is proceeding with the decryption, danger suddenly strikes as an armed helicopter appears in the air and begins a strafing pursuit. At the same time, a motorcycle carrying henchmen rushes from behind at dizzying speed. The pursuit turns into a life-and-death battle. Johnny and James coordinate a counterattack, exploding the attacker's motorcycle in turn. The climax is when James aims accurately and shoots down the helicopter hovering above. The violent explosion nearly takes the lives of the entire group, but they luckily survive by a narrow margin. When things settle down temporarily, the group stops the car to check the results. The account is finally unlocked. Inside is an amount of up to $12 million distributed across many overseas accounts. What shocks everyone is that the owner of that account is none other than Governor Peter Mayhew. The truth finally comes to light. Walter did not just discover an illegal casino, but also exposed a high-level money laundering and corruption network. Both Johnny and James are stunned to learn the truth. To them, Governor Peter was like an uncle in the family. Yet now, every clue points in the same direction. Governor Peter and Marcus had been secretly colluding for a long time. Marcus needed land to build the illegal casino, while Peter used his political power to legitimize the land clearance. In return, Marcus transferred a $12 million bribe to Peter through overseas accounts. While investigating the shady relationship between Marcus and Monica, Walter accidentally discovered this entire conspiracy, and that was the very reason he was liquidated. Meanwhile, when James and Johnny return home, they only find the children trembling with fear. His wife, Layla, has been kidnapped. Before he can regain his composure, James receives a call from Marcus. He allows the two brothers to speak with Layla and Nanny. Both women are tied up tightly in a dark basement. Marcus sets clear conditions. If they want them alive, Johnny and James must bring the USB containing the cryptocurrency account for an exchange. Rage flares up in both brothers' hearts. With no way back, James leads Johnny down to his secret arsenal, where he has stored all sorts of firearms and combat gear. A final battle is inevitable. The two brothers quickly equip themselves fully with weapons and immediately head straight for Marcus's base. As soon as they slip inside, James and Johnny cooperate very rhythmically, quietly defeating each guard quickly and brutally. Those blocking the way fall one by one, without any chance to fight back. In the basement, Marcus quickly discovers that the base is in danger. He immediately dispatches a yakuza squad to block James's path. The encounter occurs in just a split second but is extremely intense. James does not flinch, advancing step by step amidst a rain of bullets and continuous attacks. With a cold demeanor and excellent combat skills, he kills all the yakuza gang members one after another, sparing no one. Both brothers finally burst into the basement. Nanny and Layla are tied tightly, but are still alive. James and Johnny rush to untie them. However, Layla frantically says that Marcus has managed to slip away. Refusing to let his opponent escape, Johnny immediately gives chase to avenge his father. From behind, the yakuza gang leader Nakamura suddenly appears and blocks James's path. The two sides engage in a true life-and-death duel. Nakamura fights very persistently, even gaining the advantage for a few moments. But eventually, James takes advantage of a gap, seizes Nakamura, and stabs a sword through him with a single fatal blow, ending the fierce battle before rushing after his brother. At that moment, Johnny is caught up with Marcus as he is trying to find an escape route. Marcus proves he is no amateur. With quite formidable martial arts techniques, he repeatedly overpowers Johnny, knocking him to the floor. But just as Marcus is about to deliver the fatal blow, Johnny smirks provocatively and reveals that he has pulled the pin on the grenade Marcus always carries with him. An earth-shattering explosion erupts. Marcus is blown away and dies on the spot. Johnny is thrown over the railing and falls into the water below. He is not dead yet, but his body is severely injured, and he is gradually sinking. Luckily, James arrives in time and dives into the water, successfully pulling Johnny to the surface just in the nick of time. Though heavily injured, Johnny is still barely breathing. Seeing his brother still alive in his arms, James nearly collapses from the weight of his relief. This time, he did not let it slip away again. The next day, authorities officially apprehend Governor Peter Mayhew. While being handcuffed in front of the crowd, Peter still stubbornly declares his innocence as he looks at Walter's family. But this time, his power and words are no longer effective. Peter is led away, ending a chain of embezzlement schemes that lasted for many years. 2 days later, Johnny stands alone on the beach, quietly watching the rolling waves and reminiscing about his mother. For all these years, the anger inside him has always been tied to her death. That very pain caused him to leave, living a wandering and violent life. But now that everything is done, Johnny realizes he truly belongs here with his family and the people he cares about. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the entire video.